We're waiting for one of the elements we need to finish off our screen over here. But until then, we're going to do some demonstrations off the screen. I got Taco in the bunker because again, I need the door open for this because the heat is a killer. More air blowing in here because, yeah, it's a killer. It's really messed up killer. There we go. I sure got my system on me. It's going to stay nice and cool. Got projection legal mode. Yeah, we can't run anything in here in full mode. I don't want to run anything in full mode anyway. Alright, first things first. My name is Kenneth Bird. My company is ILEG Technology Screens. We're doing a demonstration on do white and gray screens see contrast. So you're really getting contrast. At the end of the day, what are you really getting? So, keep in mind, I see a lot of demonstrations on contrast, very dark environments, and this is a great way for screens that cannot produce 100% contrast to be able to fool you, to make you think you're seeing contrast by sticking you in this really dark environment, which unfortunately that's where we're going to be at. I don't understand why ambient screens that want to be ambient light rejection technology will stick you. I know they stick you in the dark because of the contrast levels, color levels, and whatever the screen may wash out and fade. But again, like I said, if you're ambient light rejection technology, you really are supposed to be in a fully lit environment, regardless if you're doing contrast demonstrations, color whatever. You're supposed to be in a fully lit environment. So, over here we have, and we took out the halo system because again, these screens won't survive in the halo system. Let's try to keep it as realistic as possible. I mean, I'm already dealing with 24,000 in the ceiling, so it's about as realistic as we can get for you. But anyway, we have a gray screen and white screen. How much of an improvement is that surface going to give our white screen that we just purchased? So let's find out and turn our projector on. Now I've seen dozens of these videos, benefit of a gray screen versus a white screen. I've seen people turn lights out. I don't even know why y'all start off that way. You're not supposed to turn out any lights in the environment. You have to put it in the same environment as your customer. The customer's going to have lights on. So it's very important that you show that off. Now, let's go over to some contrast levels. Because our screen's not even in the equation right now. It's out. It's got the white projection screen going. Make sure we got this thing sized up nicely to our screen. It's a beautiful thing about having lens shift. You know, if you have this thing mounted to your ceiling, you would have to go and change this and change that. We have lens shift. That's something you don't have to worry about. You can just adjust it to the size of your screen and just shift it over. So it sits nicely in place. That's what the beautiful about having projectors with lens shift. You don't have to go through all that headache of if your screen is basically leveled up. That's it. That's why I like lens shift projectors. I can't stand it when I got a mounted projector at the ceiling with no lens shift because it completes a headache to me. Alright, so first, let's get some contrast levels in here. Let's start off with our personal favorite, Starfield. Starfield screensaver. Really shocked me of microphones on this side. Now this is what they'll show you. Mind you, like I said, when you darken the environment, they can fool you. But the problem we have here, we're in a fully lit environment, and yeah, it's not going to pick up at all, period. But this is what they'll do. We'll turn the lights out. Lights open for you. There you go. See the trick? There's the trick. They'll do the entire demonstration like this in a dark environment. And the statement they'll make is that projection screens were meant to be used in the dark. Not the ones we got today. The ones we got today are far more powerful than what we had 10 years ago. So as you can see, they upgraded the projectors so they can thrive in more higher, well-lit environments. That's why projectors have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 lumens on them. That's why they have them on there. But they'll try to tell you that, no, you're meant to be in the dark. See, that's kind of hard to pass that along if you're basically using ultra short throw. Ultra short throws are designed to replace TVs. Kind of hard to do that if you're sitting in the dark. TVs don't require this environment. I'll show you another one. Let's go with Sony OLED demonstration. Nice dark one right here. Now I know we get this from people saying, well, you know, hey, that's not my product up there. My product would never, my gray screen would never do that. Your gray screen can't read a contrast level. This part you don't want to accept. It can't read it. That's why you're in the dark. That's why we see demonstrations where people are showing the screen off outside. What they're doing is they show the screen with the projector off, and then they come back in and show you with the projector on. Wait a minute here. Wipe my lens down. So they'll say, hey, look, you're getting a black level. That's what you're reading right there. That's the trick. And the dark. When technically you're not getting a black level. You're getting gray. That's why the lights never come on. That's why they do any lights. Lights are way in the back. Any kind of lighting in the environment will disrupt the gray screen in a hot second. So you have to make sure those lights are way in the back when they do those demonstrations. Now some of them will depend on very high-end projectors with extremely high inky contrast levels to get around that nonsense. But if you don't have that same type of projector with that same type of contrast capability, your screen's gonna suffer. Your screen's gonna wash out. That's why when you see me doing a YouTube field trip, you're like, why are we in the dark? Why are we in the dark? Because the screen can't read it. Now look at that. See that? You would think you're seeing a contrast level. I'll tell you, look, my screen paint can pull up a 100%. No, that's a lie. Any video catching you making that statement will land you into a courtroom. Because they turn the lights on, then you're in trouble. But then what they'll say in their statement, I never said myself as ambient light rejection technology. I never said it. So we have to be used in the dark. The problem is in the specification where it says under your color balance capability and contrast capability, you never stated that the screen, in order to produce a darker level, would have to be in dark environments to do so. It was never stated. That's where they get you. You got to know, you get into a courtroom, man, you've got to be extremely careful. You're walking in a landmine area. You got to be very careful. You hit the wrong landmine, you're gone. They'll pick through your specification sheet with a fine-tooth comb, and they'll find out areas that you did not mention in that specification that you might have said in video. Gotta have it in writing. Everything there has to be in writing. So they'll pick through it. So it's okay, it's not ambient light rejection, but what type of contrast are we talking about? Now, contrast in gray levels, contrast in black levels, which ones are we talking about? Now, you say you're reading 100% black. Okay, so basically, is it ambient light rejection? No, it's not ambient light rejection. Okay, it's not ambient light rejection. So, to improve the contrast levels, where will we have to be to do this? You have to be in a dark environment. All right, they find any videos, you open it up, doors, windows, anything giving off the kind of impression that you are ambient light rejection, but technically you're saying you got a lawsuit coming. There's a double standard. Can't do that. They're very, very strict on that. They'll dig all through your stuff. So can't have that. They're bringing an expert. They'll do that. They're bringing an expert, and he'll read through your specification sheet. So there's a lot of stuff in here missing. Like you're missing a ton of stuff in here. Whatever you're missing in there, you're going to have to back up why it's missing, why you don't need it, why it's not required. I go to forum sites all the time to read through my specification sheet. So your screen says nothing about its gain capability. It doesn't say anything about its gain capability because we engineered our own gain. You have proof that your product actually works. We do. We have demonstrations off ceilings. We have demonstrations outside. We have demonstrations with screens absorbing sunlight. We have screens doing extremely well-lit environments on projectors under the capability of a normal projector that would survive in that type of environment for that lumen count. There you go. We can back it up. And I can even bring a projector and have a little fun show with them. So again, as long as you can back it up, it's true. Like if you sit there and say, hey, Loch Ness Monster is real, and everybody says, no, it's fake, and you go on the water and you take pictures of you next to a giant large dinosaur, guess what? You can say it's real because you can back it up. That's how that works. But anyway, getting back to this. This is the smoke and mirror effect. This is why I told you that in all the YouTube field trips we do, you will see a lot of dark environments. This is why. Now, if you were to turn on your lights, which you want to do, especially if you're ambient projection technology, and I want to have my lights on. Matter of fact, let's keep this simple. Where's my lamp at? I got a lamp in here somewhere. Oh, right over here. We're going to do a simple, just a lamp. So what we're going to do, we're not going to have the lamp facing the screen. It's going to be over here on the other side of my desk. And we're going to just use a little bit of light right here. This is why if you notice, you look at the environments on the screens, they'll have lights behind the back of it. You know, see my neon lights over there? Behind the back of the screen, lights at the bottom. That's what they'll have. And they'll have lights in the back of the screen to give off the illusion that you're actually in a well-lit environment when technically you're still in the dark. I've seen that in a lot of videos. The light in the back, underneath, and in the corner area somewhere. Hey, look, we're in a well-lit environment. No, you're not. And again, we get some people to get offended over this. They get a little too emotional. Just a little message out to you. If you feel that I'm wrong in this demonstration, we do have a document you can sign. You can go to court over it. Not a problem with that. If you don't want to sign the document, then you know what you can do. Just be quiet. If you feel the demonstration is fake. If not, we'll put a challenge on you and you can do it today. So you can back it up. So you don't want to do that because, you know, if you turn your lights on, your screen washes out because it's true. You know, we can challenge you in court. I have no problem with that. And draw some paperwork and we can challenge your company in court that you're not reading 100% black levels. You're lying on camera and you're just going to go in there and do it. Now, if you're saying you have a 2.0 gain, a 2.0 gain is enough to run in this environment right now. See that little light right here we have? That's a 2.0 gain. A 2.0 gain should be able to read. This is what they'll do. They'll take the light and they'll stick it in the screen and say, look, I see I'm picking up a contrast level. You're still seeing gray. Still reading gray. Oops. No. That's Stephanie. No, you're reading gray. And that is 2 teaspoons of black and 2 white. Starfield screensaver. Get that, please. Thank you. Now, for those of you that don't know, you'll look at that and say, that's black. No, it isn't. That's gray. It's virtually impossible. What you're seeing at the end of the day, if you're mentioning a gray screen's reading a 1% black, then you broke the laws of physics. So that's virtually impossible. Well, not really. You have shifting capabilities. We have that already. We have screens that are blue. We're going to show that off today. I'm going to show that in more detail today than what we had in the other demonstration. But yeah, we have that technology. We have technology. We can shift the screen that's green, different colors. But that's us, not them. They don't have that yet. They're still trying to figure out how to set to work in a full environment. All right, so we'll put our lamp here. Here. Put that right there. We'll put it on this side right here. Put on our overheads. Now, what do you see? See gray. So for a gray screen to say that, hey, we work in commercial environments, business environments, lie. You can't work in that environment. We work on venues, that's a venue right there. You can't. Not even at 2,500 lumens, your screen will wash out. It's too stressed. No way in the way you can do that. Let's show you what real black technology looks like. Let's get our scene. can get a green one if I want, but I want to do the black one. That's here. There we go. This is one for that. Let's keep going. Now, what do you see now? You see a gray screen now. There you go. What do you see now? You see a gray screen now. So we know that trick. When they darken the environment and you're only seeing the white screen, you think you're seeing black. Technically, you're not seeing it. You're seeing gray. Gunmetals do it all the time. Gunmetals, when they turn off the lights, because it's on a white screen, it's on a standalone, there's no superior screen next to it, no actual black screen sitting next to it, they look like they're seeing black, but they're not. They're seeing gray the entire time. I can't wait to do this on the site. This is going to be so much fun. Now, with the little bit of light we have in the environment, you thought you were seeing a black screen, a gray screen turning black. It's not turning black. It's actually gray. When you have a superior technology that actually does read black, if your screen's picking up a slight of gray, some people make a gray screen really, really dark and try to pass off as a black screen. You can't get around that when you have an actual black screen in the environment. It won't work. So you're actually picking up gray. Without that black surface there, if we remove it, you think you're actually seeing black, when technically you're not. No smoke and mirrors, and watch this. Pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. That's why when I say on camera, I'm homed in to see black technology. If your screen is gray, we can read it. Even in the dark, we can still read it because it gives off a signature. That's why. We can tell if it's either black or gray. That's why when the customer did the demonstration for Danny's paint and he did it in the dark, we can still see the gray. Still can see it. And this little light right here, this is my little lamp right here. I should not have to, I should not be to take out a light. Take a screen out with this right here. Let me get my cell phone flashlight. We're going to use our cell phone flashlight. Let's turn this out. My cell phone flashlight, right there, right from across the desk. Screen turns gray. This is what I mean by you're not getting contrast. You're getting fooled, you're getting tricked. And this is why a lot of those demonstrations, they're rehearsed. They know right from the door when the screen, something's going to go dark on the screen. So the first thing they'll say is, hey, let me show you what this is going to look like with the lights out. Then they'll take a flashlight and they'll put it over top of the screen and say, hey, look, our screen's absorbing all this light. No, it's not. Your screen, if the screen could absorb light, you'd be to read black. It wouldn't change. So that right there, that's our cinematic, our black cinematic, ultra black cinematic, next to a gray screen. And a simple cell phone flashlight will wash it out. Can't even read it. I have no idea why people have a standalone. So it's going to be standalone, and they'll be hitting with a flashlight. What the frick you doing that for? It doesn't do anything. Because you really won't know if your screen really absorbs that kind of light unless you have a more higher advanced screen next to it or something equal to it. You have to do that demonstration that way. Can't do it on a standalone. You can't tell. So that's why you have to have another screen next to it when you're showing the light hitting the screen. Which one is absorbing light better? I see professionals do that. I saw Elite Screen do that in a demonstration one time. I was like, what are we doing? No, and in your environment it was way too dark. In that hotel room, all the lights behind the back of the screen, screens blocking windows, all kinds of, and they had dimmers in there because I can tell there were dimmers, and there's always dimmers in hotels sometimes. One of the high end ones have dimmers in them. The lights were dim, and another reason why I picked up on it, the guy walking in the hallway, his cell phone automatically went to an adjust mode when it went to the room because the hallway was actually brighter than the environment where they had the screens at. And that's where you guys are playing at the end of the day. Good gracious, man, that stuff is going to take your stuff apart, and you're not going to survive it. We got that stuff we're engineering. They're worrying about the stuff we have now. Worry about what's coming in 2026. That's the one you got to worry about. That screen does everything. So then we can submerge them underwater. I'm gonna be doing Bioshock in the water pretty soon. Show that off. All right, so let's do a red screen. Red screen. Red screen. The screen is supposed to be red, not that color, not this color, that color. So the minute we fire up lights, back up a little bit here. I'm gonna use the number lights we use. You're not picking it up. And the average person in the office is not going to be using this. Not in here, we won't. We use this in here. So you have to be able to operate fully in these environments. So when you put down commercial, no. You should never, ever put in commercial. Never. Ever put commercial in. Never. Gray screen can't survive in a commercial environment. It's way too much light in there. So anytime you see a gray screen saying that, hey, we work in well-lit commercial churches, no. That's a commercial environment. You don't work in there at all, period. Blue screen. Just getting a little color here. You should be able to read in here easy. We don't even need this anymore. We're going to have the light, the extra light on my screen. This isn't going to phase it. They're designed to absorb tons of light. We just add this in here because, again, like I said, you're not picking up at all. Now, let's say they're not ambient light rejection. If you're not ambient light rejection, what are you doing in a commercial environment? Because commercial environments require ambient light rejection technology. And if you're saying your product works outside, it requires ambient light rejection technology. To even be outside, you have to have that. Let's go with AK Desired Nature. AK Desired Nature, which I always push for me. Doing the black makeup. Let's go on that. Now I'm going to take our screen out with this one. Get the gray one in there. Our blue technology. Put that right there. All right. Now, this demonstration was done. Somebody who lied in a demonstration used an ultra short throw projector, very high inky levels, did it in a very dark environment, and said, hey, look, you're reading the contrast level. We're not in the dark. Get the lights on. And I say, that's black level. You're colorblind. So many levels. It's not even funny. That's not even black. That's gray again. That's why I said don't do screens on standalones. If you do standalone, you cheat. That's So certifies do. Certifies do all their screens on standalone. And you're against a white screen, that's it. We're not going to understand you doing a white screen because, again, that's the screen you really have to beat, which is pretty easy. And you said the white screen's not picking up any contrast. The gray screens give you a frictional gray and frictional black. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. Still on black surface. Now see, this is where people got themselves in some very serious trouble, and I'll tell you why. And instead, when we do these demonstrations, if you feel we're slandering your product, you just take me to court. That's all you have to do. Just draw some papers up, get an attorney, take me to court. But I'm telling the truth. Remember, I used to develop gray screen paints. So, if the judge ever asked me, Mr. Bird, what's your field in gray screen paints? We developed for years. And we first started in gray screen, and we know what we're talking about. So that won't help you at all, because we have experience level farther than yours. So with that being said, they got mad and got upset, and they went and did a lot of demonstrations because they couldn't really rip people off like we wanted to, because we were exposing them, telling them that, hey, you're not doing it correctly. You're not telling the truth about your product. You can see an image, but the quality of the image, how is this going to look at to the customer? You have to tell the truth. You can't smoke and mirror it. And they got mad about it. So they went and decided to start these campaigns. Let's slander his product. And this is the reason why we're all going to court. Some people are being sued for tons of money that they can't pay back. And the other half are going to jail. And that's where that started from. Upset and bitter. Well, is a way to do things. If you felt that the demonstrations you were doing, and of course we had people do the demonstrations themselves with the help of their fan base forcing them to do it because they refused to do it, you need to make a better product. That's what you need to do. Make a better product. I didn't do that when I went to Black Diamond flatlined all my products. Did I go out and do that dumb nonsense? No. I made a better product. That's what I did. All right, then. There we go. That's how you do things. That's how mature adults do things in the business world. Kids just do other dumb stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So, technically, no, your screen does not read black. For the customer, it's not picking up black. It's giving the illusion that it's picking up black because there's nothing else there, that and the white screen. And anytime you see a demonstration of anyone saying, hey, the benefit of a gray screen versus a white screen, and those lights get turned out, they told you from the door they're cheating on you. That's why I said when I saw him, I mentioned his name, because we get the videos right on our account. It's on the Blacklist account, where he removed the video, but in the video there were two lights next to the screen. He had both of them on, and he said, well, I'm going to show you the benefits of my screen paint versus a white screen, and he turned out both lights. That's how we knew what he was doing. The interesting thing about it is people like that who do those type of demonstrations figure that no one else can figure that out. Come on, man. There's been people who've been doing this for years, longer than you have, and they picked that up. Gray screens and white screens can only function in super dark environments because that's the only way they can pull off a somewhat contrast level. And if you're working with a projector with a really high inky contrast, you have a better vantage point of pulling up some real better colors and most or contrast than other people. If that was the case, the customer who opened up those two windows, he would have never had that issue. But he did. He got on top of the roof around dusk. He would have been to pick up the black cinema bar. Some contrast would have came up on that Batman scene. Yeah, nothing. So, no, you're being lied to. And not just with the screen paints. You're being lied to with the certified screens. Got one here. Let's see where we put it at. That's $1 million question. $1 million question. Where did we put it? There we go. I've been dying to do some certified screens on a white screen. And that screen is made by Pyle. I think it's Pyle, if I'm saying that correctly. That's a name brand company, by the way. Woo! Air cleaner's on a roll. So this is a certified screen. It has a 0.8 gain sitting on top of it. These are Gunmetal Technology screens. We're going to put it up here by itself. And they do their demonstrations. They show their screens up next to a white surface, which it should, because again, that's what they're going to be going against anyway. You know what I mean? They don't put it against our stuff. What's the odds of running into one of our screens? There you go. That's why they am against the white screen, because the white screen is something they're going to run into. All right, so let's come over here. Let's check this out. Take ours out. Make sure it's nice and flat. Yeah, you see that? There you go. That's why that screen costs $5,000. Now, when I see people do demonstrations against those screens like this, the Gunmetal Technology, that pull really high contrast levels, they don't pull black, they pull very dark grays. I see them sticking them in dark environments. Why is the screen with a 0.8 gain or 9 sitting in a dark environment next to a gray screen? Because the gray screen can't read in a fully lit environment. It doesn't function well. I tested all this technology before. I know exactly what it's designed to do. So we'll see people take a screen like this, say have the same thing as a $7,000 screen or $5,000 screen, and they'll stick it in a dark environment. Why is a 0.8 screen doing it in a dark environment? It should never be in there. That screen has an amazing ability to absorb light. The reason why it's in there because the gray screen can't absorb the light. In order for the gray screen to be to show somewhat of a decent contrast level, it's going to require to be in a darker environment to compete with that screen. That's why I said people make those statements about how you can compete where you're saving people thousands of dollars or hundreds or whatever it is. You can't compete with gunmetal. Gunmetal is a whole different class of technology. Now, just because we have laid against our screen and the screens don't pick up contrast and color, that's because we have a more superior technology. That's why. But I know for a darn fact that screen laying against a white screen is a massive difference. I told you I watched the Black Diamond against a gray screen at 50 lumens in the garage. Pick up far better. It's a different type of technology. So if you're claiming to beat one of these screens, you lied. You have to show proof. We beat 17 of them. And when you do these demonstrations, they'll be done in fully lit environments, because that's the way they're supposed to be done. Our video is a bit choppy here. I can see it moving here and slowly here. We'll have to continue this on another stream. But you see the difference in that? See how the black background picks up 100% and it doesn't read on the gray screen? Gray screen, you've really got to stop lying. You lie too much. You are in no way, in any way, competing with the gunmetal technology. You lied. I do this in forum sites all day long. And for any gray screen out there wants to sit there and say, well, you know, that's not my product. Well, that's 2 tablespoons of black paint and the white paint. I know you'll match it because you don't have any comparisons on your product, so you don't even know yourself, but I know. And the apple barrel is the one thing you do not want to match because that's a $4.79 paint. Any of the Behr silver screens, any of the Network Gray 773, which they won't go near Network Gray. I just seen what he did in Network Gray. They're terrified of it. Network Gray 773 is the boogeyman to gray screen paints. It is. Because it has a perfect tone. It has a perfect black level in it. It reads perfectly. It can easily replace a gray screen, easily. Now, mind you, it has a 235 sample sheet, which means that thing has anything from light gray to mid gray to dark gray. It can cover everything. That's what makes it, yeah, Network Gray very dangerous. Black screen. Can't get any darker than this, can you? You don't read black. Not in no gunmetal, you won't. So when I seen someone doing they did the dark, not the dark star, they don't went in the dark star 9. Oh, they did the dark star 9. They did the demonstration in the dark. Why are you using the dark star 9 in a dark environment? Because your screen can't read it. Can't read black. That screen can read black. Well, it doesn't read black. It reads a dark shade of gray, an extremely dark shade of gray at that. There you go. So when I go into a demonstration, someone's ranting on camera about their contrast levels, you are not pulling Jack. You can see it. Not Jack, not Jill, not anything else coming down the hill. You're not pulling it. You're not seeing it. I told you, take a certified screen, put it against a white screen, but that's what happened. There you go. So everyone out there who bought a gray screen, who has a gray screen, whether it be certified, whatever it may be, that's the reason why your screen costs what it costs. When you go to a certified screen company, they have different types of screens. The white screen's cheaper. The gray, like that, are considered to be next to the cheaper screens, but they're a little better than white screens, as you saw in the demonstration. You're seeing right now. And when you get to the more expensive screens, more the mid-levels, which will be the gray Cinema 5D and so forth. When you get to the more advanced screens, more like the Dark Star 9, which are much darker screens, you're talking about $3,000 screen. The reason why it costs $3,000. The higher the contrast, the higher the gain, the more advanced the screen is. We put our technology next to that, that screen changes colors. It can't pick up a contrast level next to us. We pick up 100% black. Now, gray screen. Imagine this happening in a courtroom. Imagine that company take you to court. Because in your demonstration, it watched you put my other screen in a dark environment to cheat, to say that you pulled the same contrast their screen does and not to buy theirs. Imagine that. You're going to see you're just like that screen. That screen has a 0.8 gain sitting on top of it. It's designed, it's ambient light projection in that thing. It can absorb. I have no idea why to this day I see demonstrations on those screens in these ambient light controlled environments. That's traditional bullcrap. They don't need to be in there. They can operate fully the environments with no problem. It's professional technology. That's why we challenge with those screens at the end of the day. This is where I get my credit. I don't get my credit with your products. Your products are fake and phonies at the end of the day. You don't have real products. That's why I didn't like the fellow who did the test. If you're going to do the test, you put me against stuff like this. High professional, high grade. Not no candy paints. That's a disrespect to our product. And compare me to that nonsense. People that can't even give us the product because they have to cancel out. I could easily get that one with no problem. I had a headache getting the other paints because the people couldn't back them up. And then they're writing on the side of containers, not ambient light projection. What kind of dumb nonsense is that? Are you challenging us or are you running from us? Which one is it? Gotta pick one, man. Pick one. One minute they want to give us back the money and they want to cry on every receipt and curse us out in emails. And next minute they want to talk about your trash on YouTube, talking about how they're better than us. You can't even be certified. How are you going to come across me and you can't take out a certified? That's a different type of monster right there. Let's go over to the Starfield again. Starfield screensaver. I can see why they kept giving me Garfield because I didn't see other say. Come close to one of those screens ever. That's why if you look at any demonstration involving a gray screen paint, you will never ever see one of them challenging one of those screens in fully lit environments because they can't operate in a fully lit environment. That screen can. They can't even go outside. We can operate anywhere we want. Delusional. This is when you call me delusional at the end of the day. All gray screens. When you call me delusional and you're trying to go against me and you can't take that out. That's when I see these dark environments and trying to use high power projecting. First of all, you can't use it with an ultra short throw. You're not supposed to do that. They make the screen go dark. They don't pick up that well. They got a special surface for that. Alright. Let's show you. There we go. There we go. Froze there for a minute, people. We read a 100% black level. They can't. That would be us. Because our screens are actually black. So, the more expensive the screen is, the higher the contrast, the better the color. I mean, the better the ambient light rejection. We can do that. And our screens can operate on ultra short throws. They can operate on ultra short throws. They have a special screen for ultra short throws. I was added a little piece of paper that came with their screen telling us that we have to use it on this particular type of connected on my end. Hopefully it works on my end. Let me see what we got going on here. Video is very stuttery. I had to disconnect my Wi-Fi and put it back on. Yeah, that's better. Let me see. When I put my hand in the front, if my hand freezes when I'm bringing it across, that means basically the video is stuttering. Yeah. So this screen has limitations. Number one, it's very expensive. Number two, you're not using ultra short throw in that. You have to buy a special screen for that to run off ultra short throw, and that's even more expensive than that one. You're not taking that outside. You definitely would not be taking that outside. It's not going to happen. Zoom. There we go. Back. There we go. I was waiting for that to click in. There we go. All right. YouTube sometimes we lag over here, we lag over there, back and forth. But I was waiting for clicking. I reset my Wi-Fi. But anyway, yeah, that screen costs a lot of money over here. So, like I said, when you do these demonstrations and you're showing contrast off, these have to be done in fully lit environments. As I showed you with the gray screen, it's very easy to hide those levels. It's easy to fake it. When you put the gray screen up against a certified screen, they can't match that screen. The diamonds, all they have, they can't beat those screens. No way in the world. They're telling you they're saving you thousands of dollars, and they're just like the high-end screens. They are nowhere close to that at all, period. You're still going to require, with the high-grade screen, the $7,000 screen, you're going to require an Inky projector. You're going to need it. It's going to be required for it. They're going to advise you to buy a most high-end, more expensive projector to run with those screens. Problem with screens also to have narrow viewing cone effect. That also triggers off on the screen. You turn to the side, screens go dark. Another problem you'll have with them. Not all of them. Some of them have it. Black Diamond has a zero edge. It doesn't pick up any of that. But the zero edge is lighter, which means it doesn't pick up contrast all that well. And we can easily take the screen either way because our screens are black. But other than that, yeah. $7,000 for a screen, or $5,000 for a screen that's not 100% black. You don't really 100% black contrast level. You're not taking that thing outside. Our stuff can be installed because it's a paint. It can go anywhere it wants. It can go to floors, it can go to ceilings, it can go anywhere. It can recoat that screen or recoat a white screen. Alright, cool. I get this when I go to forum sites. All the time I get somebody say, well, turn off the lights. The screen has a 0.8 gain on it. Now this right here, we're going to play around with this. This is blue technology. This screen's not even black. It's blue. You want to see it's blue? I'll show you. This is the black surface we had. This is a blue surface. See? That's blue. A little curious here. Try to be a little curious. Baby. Serious about this. Next to certified. Pretty cool, isn't it? That screen is blue. Just curious. Red screen. No. Red screen. That's what they gave me. Except a deeper red. And again, like I said, it should be challenging blue. The screen's already blue. Blue screen. Really? Why ain't even with the click over to switch it over? Come on, get us back over to it. Give me blue screen. 4K snow screensavers. And mind you, our technology is at 15%. I told you, certifieds pick up very, very high white levels. On mine, it's a gray screen, and it does have reflective coating on top of it. But still, we're at 15%. We're not worried about that. These are all test technology. Let's give me purple screen. Purple levels are much higher. Let's go into we have it here, or do we switch over? Took so much. There we go. So our black levels for the background are far higher. And that screen's blue. So once it reaches the heightener, because the next stage for these screens is after they reach 50%, we increase the heightening capability, which gives the screen the tremendously ability to pick up high white levels. Right now it's at 50%, 15%. It's a test technology. You don't see a lot on it because we haven't had time to test it out. But like I said, certified does its job. It does what it's supposed to do. A gray screen can't compete with a certified screen. No way whatsoever. That's why you said you gotta be careful about them lies. I'm just trying to tell you all types of lies. You're reading all these colors and all this stuff that's coming up off a gray screen. You're not reading anything. You can't pick up anything next to that. This is what I saw on the Black Diamond. When I tested the Black Diamond against my product, that's what happened to my product. That's what it did to it. Have you ever seen anybody test against that screen? No. No one, no gray screen would test against that. They want to test against Diamond. Or I seen him try to do the Dark Star 9, but the Dark Star 9 was sitting in a dark environment. There's no way in the world that screen should have ever been sitting in a dark environment. Ever. That would a 0.8 gain sitting on top of it. Yeah, I should never sit in that environment. All right, well, we're done here. I've had some fun showing off our technology. I want to still do some more of this. I got another demonstration I want to do with the that's our blue technology right there. I want to put our blue technology next to a gray screen. Now, that screen's blue. It doesn't read, it's not even black, but it's blue. And let's show you that next to the, because I'm pretty sure you're probably thinking, why do you put that? Oh, of course I'm going to do that. Why wouldn't I? You can't read next to one of those. It's shifting technologies in it. Yeah, you're not going to read next to that. Purple screen. Let me see. Red screen. What did it give me? Nope. Red screen. Solar winds come blowing in. The screen can change its color, even though it's a different color. It has that capability to do that, which means it can maintain better color, maintain better contrast. And if the screen's a different color. Gray screen. You just get a back-to-back commercial on it. Really gray. It reads better gray than the actual gray screen. So you got shades of gray. You got your mid gray, and now you have your dark gray. You have to be able to pick those up, both of them. Now you still got the dark color category, which has to be able to read. Star screen, screensaver. Nope, even what I asked for. Star screen, screensaver. Technically, I butchered that one. What do we play games with? We know which ones we use. Let's try her again. Star screen, screensaver. My phone's right next to me. When AI likes to be a jerk. Let's try her again. Star screen, screensaver. And we use this thing every freaking day. It doesn't make a difference what we choose. It's still not going to read next to the screen. But I want that particular one because it has a really nice contrast to it. But apparently, AI wants to be a jerk. What did we get me at the end of the day? Of course. Star screen, screensaver. Alright. AI is going to be an idiot. Let's just deal with the idiot of AI. Because for some reason, it's fighting me. Here it is right there. That should have been the first thing that popped up. Didn't even get it. What the freak would a freaking ribbon in the background have anything to do with freaking a star screen? It's put everything on a star screen. Oh, I feel sorry for people using these things for research. Oh, I forgot. I use it for research. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. That's a blue screen. That's reading a star field higher than a gray screen. And it's blue. Nowhere near black. 15%, it's a test product. It's not even a stage 1. It's a test product. It was made in about 20 minutes, that's it. We haven't even upgraded it yet. Nowhere near it. No testing, nothing's done on it at all, period. Because it sits on that shelf over there until we get around to it. And literally, that stuff sitting on the shelf, we got about 8 screens sitting on the shelf that can literally take out certifieds and gray screens at will. And they're just tests. We're not even done yet. Black screen. Make sure we get this one right. Of course we get this one right. So what do you do against a 15 center, the 15%er? They're different. It's a different type of technology, mind you. That one can make the white levels on a gray screen get thrown off. It can turn them orange. And it pulls in a heavy contrast level. Pulls better color. We got to pull that thing out. I got to have some fun with that. I haven't used that screen in a while. So I mean, I tell you, we got so much technology, we forget we even got it. Yeah, that's how that one works. Anyway, so you can see right there, the contrast. Are you really getting this from a gray screen? No, you're not getting that. Not even if they say at the end of the day that, hey, we're better than certified. No. You're not picking up certified technology. You're not reading the contrast levels. You're not doing any of that whatsoever. Let me show you. Got a blue surface off here. Certified right here. Certified. Something strange about that screen. I'm going to tell you why. I got a feeling this screen has an angle gain issue. All right. I'm going to see if I can watch this. Tell me if I'm not seeing things here. Watch. Now you see right there, right? Watch this. We hit the surface on and made all black on. All right. I don't think what I just saw. I just seen the screen turn dark a few minutes ago. Now it's lighter. And this is the part that gets me about these screens, because these screens have weird narrow viewing comb effects on them. Which means if you get the screen upside down or back, whatever, upside down or whatever it is, it changes because the viewing combs go off. All right, so you're looking at that right there, right? You're seeing the same thing I'm looking at, right? And I'm showing a black screen right now. Watch this. This is really crazy. Did you just see that? What the frick is that? What's that? So wait a minute. There's no arrows. There's nothing on the back of the screen. Usually when you're dealing with ceiling light projection technology, there's arrows there saying, okay, you got to point up this way. You got to point this way. If you point up this way, it picks up. If you point this way, it doesn't. There's no arrows on the back of this thing. This thing has a narrow viewing cone. Usually you get narrow viewing cones if you turn to the side. You get the narrow viewing cone effect. White screen. I know this thing is not doing what I think it's going to do. Oh my goodness, it does have that problem. No, get out of here. I need my research. I can't stand myself gets in the way of research. Oh my goodness. I just figured out something about their technology. So when the screen has a narrow viewing cone effect, the problem that you have is on black levels it may pick up better, but on white levels it may pick up poor. Watch this. Tell me I just didn't see what I just saw. Oh, we got to do a video on this. We got to do a video on this. This is crazy. So you mean to tell me if I have this thing in the wrong angle, it reacts differently, whether the screen may be darker or lighter? Hold on, we got to go. Hold on a minute. Starfield screensaver. There, got the first one right there. It's called narrow viewing cone effect. That's what that does. $7,000 for a piece of a screen that has that flaw in it? Are you freaking kidding me? I gotta come back. I gotta come back on this. I don't want this video to be over time. I gotta come back and we just discovered something crazy. I had no idea they did that. Alright, be back. Definitely gotta talk about this. God bless.